why I completely stopped joking about myself and why I think you should too. I mean, it might create some sort of tension in discussions when people are trying to invite you to talk bad about yourself, even in a joking manner. But if you don't give in to that, it's really like you're protecting yourself. Having all sorts of discussions with my friends from different areas of life, I've noticed that this one type of personality, which I really cannot quite stand to be around with, is a person who is jokingly speaking badly about themselves. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be always take yourself way too seriously, but I'm saying that if the jokes that you're saying about yourself are your insecurities, if they are things that you're trying to manifest and joking about them, I feel like you're actually destroying these manifestations and these dreams because you're not noticing. But when you are joking about a matter that is very important to you, or maybe something that you feel strongly about, but you're trying to nonchalantly just speak about it as if you don't care about it, it is communicating to others, also subconsciously for yourself, that you are not taking it seriously and it's not an important thing for you. So what actually happens is that you start to subconsciously act around the same issue in the way you are speaking about it. This is one thing that we are not aware of that we are doing, and I did this for years. I noticed that whenever I was meeting up with my friends, I would always try to throw in a bit of a joke how I was trying to be a full-time artist, but still I was only working in the harbor, and how I was trying to do this little photography thing. So I would always speak about myself like I didn't believe in myself. So this was also how others perceived me. I always presented myself to the people around me as if I was not serious about my profession and my practice, which was also something that others picked up from the discussions that I was creating and upkeeping. I've spoken before about the power of the word and how what we say to ourselves, even if it's internally or externally in discussion situations, it is what determines how we see ourselves. And if you've always had low self-esteem, maybe you've always thought that you are not good enough, this will manifest and this will be shown in the words that you use and how you speak about yourself. And I know it's difficult. It's so difficult to change the way you speak about yourself if you've always thought that you have like this limit for growth that you cannot exceed. You cannot become all these versions of yourself because you always set this limit for yourself. But I feel like it's so widely accepted that you speak badly about yourself that if you come into a discussion, meeting up with your friends or old acquaintances or even work colleagues, this is very important because I feel like in work situations and surroundings, people often expect us to sort of bash the work and bash everything and talk negatively and gossip about people. So this even more enforces the notion that you should be gossiping about your own things, but also about others. This creates an energy around people trying to do something new or trying to grow in their practice, in their business. So like gossiping and talking badly about others, but also yourself, is a pretty sure way to destroy your manifestations, just destroy anything that would take you to the next level, to up level yourself. And I did this for years. I noticed that I not only did this with my work colleagues, but I also did this with a lot of my friends. And I started to pay more attention to how I was speaking about myself. I would say that this stirred a lot of relationships in my life because people were used to me keeping myself on this one level. And once you start appreciating yourself, valuing yourself and what you do, I feel that people around you will instantly sense this. They will sense that you have more self-respect towards yourself and you start setting boundaries. Like one of the boundaries is learn to love yourself and through that learn to speak positively about yourself. And I'm not talking about bragging. I'm not saying that you should be sharing everything good that is going on in your life and trying to come out as if your life is better than someone else's. Not in the slightest. More so that you become very aware that if somebody else is inquiring, how are you doing? How is your life? You don't have to belittle yourself. You don't need to put yourself down in a jokingly manner. But also, I sort of don't believe in sharing your life either. Not on social media, but especially with people you don't quite know. And even sometimes the people who are closest to you. Like sometimes they're the ones who are not understanding of this growth that you have or who you want to become. And they're not maybe understanding the reasons behind it. And you don't need to explain it to them. But sometimes it's easier not to share things with them because it feels like like you need to always explain why you are doing something and why this is a good decision for yourself, even if you're the only one you need to convince of these decisions and these actions that you take. First of all, I just stopped meeting with these people that I wasn't aligning really strongly with. So I just let go and kind of ghosted some of my old friends and people that I knew from previous jobs, or people who were just not sharing this exact path. I remember a friend of mine once said that I have so many old friends. They were surprised that I was keeping so many friendships alive and I was still communicating with a lot of old friends from high school or people from my past. And I always thought that I just accept everyone, and I'm also interested in different kinds of people. So not only the people that are in my reality, but also people from my past, like how have their lives changed. I was really genuinely interested in that. But then I noticed that it was taking a lot of my energy, and I also noticed some energy shifting, which was connected to the way I spoke about myself, but also how they were speaking about themselves. There were many instances where I was meeting up with an old friend and we always had great conversations, but the discussions were always about like how they had bad luck in their lives, how nothing was going as they planned. They didn't know how to proceed with life. And whenever I would meet up with this friend, the discussions were always going in circles about these same topics. Even if I would give great advice or we would come to great insights during this conversation, every time I met them again after a couple of months, they would have the same issues, the same questions, and the discussions would be always similar. On top of this, I noticed that sometimes they were speaking badly about themselves, how they were sort of limiting themselves with how much they could grow in their work or how they could change their life. And I noticed that they were almost expecting the same from me. So during these discussions, I should have also said how it's just normal that we don't want to grow because it's very painful, or how I'm afraid of growth, or how I don't believe enough in myself. I don't believe this could be possible. But I knew from experience that I shouldn't be saying those things, and I knew that I should be focusing more on how I could be doing things. But for a person like this, like the friend I had, I know that for them this discussion might have seemed more that I was bragging about my own abilities, my skills, or my goals that I have achieved or that I set out to myself. And this dynamic really doesn't work for long, because you know that they will either become jealous of what you have, and seeing you succeed will make them feel more jealous about the courage that you have to move forward. Or if they have low self-esteem, they will feel that seeing you succeed will make them feel bad about themselves, like they are not doing enough. It's just their own projection on you. So it's nothing personal, but this is a dynamic that cannot be upkept for too long. In the last years, I can say that I have let go of a lot of friends, great people, not to say nothing about that, like people who I've laughed with, experienced a lot in life. At this specific time, I just feel that we have chosen different paths, and I see them as lessons, people that have taught me something in the past. But it is also something that we need to do. We need to let go of people in order to let new people in. So do pay attention to what you discuss with the people that you meet, and feel the pain that you feel when you are challenging the discussion that you usually have. So if you are trying to uplift the other, trying to focus more on the positive or the opportunities, possibilities you both have, or then when you don't jump into the discussion of joking about yourselves or the things that you cannot do properly, because you really just emphasize these characteristics in you. Let's say that you feel that you are not good enough to start your own business, and you are with a friend who also feels this way. But for the last couple of months, maybe half a year, you've started to feel a bit better and seeing these opportunities arise. Like you might actually be able to start your own business and start selling your services or some products, maybe, whatever it is for you. And then meeting up with this friend, you feel like the friend is always seeing obstacles, like they're seeing things that will not work. And you're trying to instead bring out opportunities and possibilities, how it all would work, and seeing other people who are succeeding. This is something that you will start noticing when you stop putting yourself down and start uplifting yourself. So you will see others also who have done the same thing. And this will usually at some point obviously create some sort of conflict within your relationship, because it just feels like you're not speaking the same language in a way. There are still days where I might say something about myself or things I cannot still do. I usually try to be very mindful about it, notice how I speak about myself, notice how when I look myself in the mirror, what things do I comment on when I see myself. We all still have the inner critic, and I don't think you can really ever get rid of them, but you can start feeding more positive thoughts to your own mind, so the thought process becomes different. And I must say that once I did stop talking badly about myself, it just changed everything. You would think that they're just words. It is so important how we internally think about ourselves, but also externally how we speak about ourselves, because we manifest and emphasize what we speak about. If we feel that there are characteristics we want to maybe grow out of or become a better version of ourselves, become better people, we cannot then feed on this belief that we are not good enough or we cannot do something, because otherwise that will persist. I hope this video made some sense. I had an experience where I noticed I was kind of outgrowing a person that was very close in my life, and I felt that it was interesting to become very aware of, and also to see how our discussion and the way we spoke about ourselves, but also to each other about ourselves, it changed. And it became quite difficult for me to not see the negative tone in her voice when she spoke about herself, but also how she expected me to do the same about my own issues and about my own events in my life and things that I wanted to accomplish. And I think a lot of us should pay more attention to what we consume, whether it's social media, television, movies, music. Everything is connected with how you see yourself. This was it for this week, and I'll see you next week.